How to tell if your dog enjoys its life or not. And I have to warn you, some of these signs might be really hard to hear, especially if you realize you've been missing them. Your dog can't tell you in words when they're unhappy or struggling, so they communicate through behavior. And some of these signals are so subtle that loving owners miss them completely. But by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, both the warning signs that something's wrong and the beautiful signs that your dog is genuinely thriving and happy. Let's start with the concerning signs that you absolutely need to know about. Your dog has what's called learned helplessness behaviors. This is one of the most heartbreaking things to see, and unfortunately, a lot of dog owners don't realize what they're looking at. Learned helplessness happens when a dog has stopped trying to change their situation because they've learned that nothing they do makes a difference. It's not laziness or being calm, it's actually a form of depression. Here's what this looks like. Your dog doesn't get excited about things that dogs normally love: walks, treats, playtime. When you call them, they might come slowly with their head down and tail low, almost like they're going through the motions without any real enthusiasm. They might spend most of their time just lying in one spot, not really sleeping but not really awake either, just kind of existing. They don't initiate play, they don't bring you toys, and they seem completely disengaged from life around them. What makes this so serious is that learned helplessness doesn't happen overnight. It develops over time when a dog's needs consistently aren't met, when they're punished for behaviors they don't understand, or when they have no control over their environment. Maybe they're left alone for extremely long periods every single day. Maybe they're crated constantly with no mental stimulation. Maybe they've been trained using harsh methods that made them afraid to try anything new. There was this really sad situation with someone who adopted a dog from a shelter, and the dog would just lie in the corner all day, barely moving. At first, they thought the dog was just adjusting or was naturally low energy. But after working with a behaviorist, they realized the dog had completely shut down emotionally. The previous owner had kept the dog in a small space with almost no interaction, and the dog had learned that nothing it did mattered, so it stopped trying. The recovery process took months of patience, gentle encouragement, and rebuilding the dog's confidence that its actions could lead to positive outcomes. If you're seeing these signs in your dog, it's really important to address it because this isn't just about being unhappy. This is about your dog having lost hope. The good news is that with patience, enrichment, positive reinforcement, and giving your dog more choice and control in their daily life, learned helplessness can be reversed. But you have to recognize it first. Your dog shows displacement behaviors when they're around you. Displacement behaviors are things dogs do when they're feeling stressed, anxious, or conflicted. And they're one of the clearest signs that your dog isn't comfortable or happy in certain situations. The tricky part is that these behaviors look normal on the surface, so people often miss what they actually mean. Common displacement behaviors include excessive yawning when they're not tired, licking their lips when there's no food around, suddenly scratching or grooming themselves during interactions with you, sniffing the ground intensely when nothing interesting is there, or shaking off like they're wet when they're completely dry. These are all ways dogs try to self-soothe and cope with uncomfortable feelings. Here's what makes this particularly concerning. If your dog is doing these behaviors specifically when you're interacting with them, like when you're petting them, calling them over, or training them, it means they're finding those interactions stressful rather than enjoyable. They might be complying with what you ask, but internally, they're uncomfortable and trying to manage their anxiety. Pay attention to patterns. Does your dog yawn repeatedly during training sessions? That's not tiredness. That's stress. Do they lick their lips constantly when you reach to pet them? They're trying to calm themselves down because your touch makes them nervous. Do they shake off immediately after you hug them? That's your dog literally trying to shake off the uncomfortable experience. I know someone whose dog would do this excessive lip licking and yawning every single time she called him over for cuddles. She thought he was just quirky, but really, he was showing clear stress signals because he didn't enjoy being held tightly and having his space invaded. Once she started respecting his body language and letting him come to her for gentler affection on his terms, those displacement behaviors almost completely stopped. The difference in the dog's overall demeanor was incredible. He went from tolerating affection to actually seeking it out. Your dog's body language shows chronic tension and stress. While some stress is normal and temporary, Chronic stress that persists day after day is a serious sign that your dog isn't enjoying their life. And a lot of this shows up in really subtle body language that people don't think to look for. Look at your dog's face and body when they're just existing in your home. Are their eyes soft and relaxed, or are they showing a lot of white around the eyes, which is called whale eye? Is their mouth relaxed and slightly open, or is it closed tight with tension in their jaw? Are their ears in a natural, relaxed position, or are they pinned back against their head frequently? Is their body loose and wiggly, or do they seem stiff and rigid even when nothing obviously stressful is happening? Chronic tension also shows up in behaviors like excessive panting when it's not hot and they haven't been exercising, constant vigilance where they're always watching and monitoring everything around them without ever fully relaxing, and difficulty settling down even in supposedly calm situations. These dogs are living in a constant state of low-level stress, and it's exhausting for them. What causes this kind of chronic stress? Sometimes it's an environment that's too chaotic. Maybe there's a lot of yelling in the household, or unpredictable schedules, or conflicts between family members that the dog picks up on. Sometimes it's lack of adequate exercise and mental stimulation, so the dog has all this pent-up energy with nowhere to put it. Sometimes it's past trauma that hasn't been addressed, or current situations where the dog doesn't feel safe. There's a really telling example of someone who noticed their dog was always tense and seemed hyper-vigilant at home. Turns out there was a lot of tension between family members that frequently escalated into arguments, and the dog was picking up on all of that emotional energy and couldn't relax because the environment felt unpredictable and unsafe. Once the family started working on their communication and creating a calmer household atmosphere, the dog's tension levels visibly decreased over time. Your dog doesn't have a secure base with you. This is a concept from attachment theory, and it's absolutely crucial to understanding whether your dog feels safe and happy. A secure base means your dog sees you as a source of safety and comfort, someone they can return to when they're scared or uncertain. If your dog doesn't have this with you, it indicates a fundamental problem in your relationship. Here's how you can tell. When your dog encounters something new or scary, do they look to you for reassurance and guidance? Or do they handle it completely on their own without checking in with you at all? When they're frightened, do they come to you for comfort? Or do they hide away from everyone, including you? In new environments, do they explore confidently while checking back with you periodically? Or do they either cling to you in fear or completely ignore you? Dogs who don't have a secure base with their owners often show one of two extremes. Either they're overly anxious and clingy because they don't actually trust that you'll protect them, so they're desperately trying to stay close to you out of fear rather than comfort. Or they're completely independent to the point of seeming like they don't care about you at all because they've learned they can't rely on you for emotional support. This usually develops when owners are inconsistent in their responses to their dog, sometimes comforting, sometimes punishing, sometimes ignoring. The dog can't predict what response they'll get, so they stop relying on the owner as a safe haven. It can also happen when owners use a lot of intimidation or punishment in training, making the dog fear them rather than trust them. Someone I know had a rescue dog who would completely shut down and hide under furniture whenever there was a loud noise like thunder or fireworks. She thought the dog just needed time to adjust, but even after a year, the dog never came to her for comfort during these scary moments. After working with a trainer, she realized she hadn't built that secure base relationship because she'd been trying to toughen up the dog by ignoring fearful behavior instead of providing comfort. Once she started being a reliable source of safety and reassurance, the dog's fear responses became less intense, and he started actually seeking her out when he was scared. All right, now let's shift gears and talk about the positive signs, the beautiful indicators that tell you your dog is genuinely happy and enjoying their life. These are the things you want to see. Your dog shows play bows and playful behavior regularly, not just with other dogs, but with you and their environment. When dogs are happy and comfortable, they play. And not just frantic, overstimulated play, but genuine, joyful, creative play that shows they're mentally and emotionally thriving. The play bow is that adorable position where a dog puts their front end down with their butt up in the air, usually accompanied by a wagging tail and bright, excited eyes. This is an invitation to play, and when your dog does this regularly with you, it's a crystal clear sign that they're happy and see you as a source of fun and positive experiences. But it's not just about play bows. Happy dogs will spontaneously grab toys and toss them around. They'll do silly zoomies through the house or yard. They'll playfully pounce on things that interest them. And they'll initiate games with you by bringing you toys or nudging you with their nose. This playfulness shows that your dog has enough mental and emotional bandwidth to engage with life in a fun, creative way rather than just surviving through each day. What's really sweet is when dogs create their own games, like dogs who will intentionally drop a toy just to watch it bounce, or dogs who play with shadows and light reflections, or dogs who make up elaborate games with their own toys. This kind of creative, self-directed play is a huge indicator of a dog who's genuinely enjoying life and has the mental energy to engage with their world in interesting ways. I know someone whose dog invented this game where she'd hide her own toys around the house and then find them later, getting super excited like it was a surprise each time. That level of creative, self-entertaining play shows a dog with a really healthy, happy mental state. She wasn't bored, she wasn't anxious, she was literally making her own fun because she felt secure and content enough to be playful. Your dog has a soft, overall body language most of the time. While we talked about tension as a negative sign, let's talk about what relaxed, happy body language actually looks like, because it's absolutely beautiful to see in a dog who's truly content. A happy dog's body is loose and wiggly. Their tail wags in big, full sweeps that often involve their whole back end moving. That's called a full body wag, and it's one of the purest expressions of joy. Their facial expression is soft, with relaxed eyes, maybe a slightly open mouth that looks like a smile, and ears in a natural forward position when they're engaged or gently back when they're being affectionate. When you pet them or interact with them, their body literally melts into your touch. They lean into pets. They might close their eyes contentedly, and their whole demeanor just radiates comfort and pleasure. When they're resting, they sleep in relaxed positions, maybe on their backs with their legs in the air or stretched out completely without any tension. Dogs who sleep in these vulnerable positions are showing you they feel completely safe in their environment. Happy dogs also have what's called a soft eye. Their gaze is relaxed and warm when they look at you, not hard or tense. And when they're excited about something good, like seeing you come home or realizing it's walk time, their excitement is pure and uncontained. Their whole body expresses joy, not just their tail. There's something really touching about watching a truly happy dog move through their day. Everything about them just seems easy and comfortable. They transition smoothly between activities, they settle down calmly when it's rest time. And when they're active, there's this beautiful flow to their movements that shows they're completely at ease in their own body and their environment. Your dog actively seeks out interaction with you and shows genuine enthusiasm for your presence. This is probably one of the clearest signs that your dog is happy and has a great relationship with you. They don't just tolerate you or obey you out of necessity. They actually enjoy being around you and look forward to your interactions. This shows up in so many sweet ways. Your dog gets genuinely excited when you come home, even if you've only been gone for 10 minutes. They follow you around the house not out of anxiety, but because they enjoy your company. They bring you toys, not necessarily to play, but sometimes just to show you or share with you. They voluntarily choose to be in the same room as you even when they're not seeking attention, just existing near you because your presence makes them comfortable. Happy dogs also initiate affection. They'll come up and gently nudge your hand for pets, or rest their head on your lap, or lean against you while you're sitting together. And when you give them attention, they reciprocate, maintaining soft eye contact, leaning into your touch, maybe giving gentle licks, or doing that adorable thing where they put their paw on your arm as if to say, "Keep going, this is nice." What's really special is when your dog shows you're their safe person. When they're scared or uncertain, you're the one they run to. When they're excited about something, you're the one they want to share it with. When they're content and sleepy, they choose to curl up next to you. That level of attachment and trust is a beautiful sign of a dog who not only enjoys their life, but specifically enjoys their life with you. Someone told me about how her dog will grab a toy when she comes home and prance around with it, showing it off with this wiggling, excited body language. The dog doesn't want to play fetch. She just wants to celebrate that her favorite person is home by sharing her joy. That kind of genuine enthusiasm for your presence is such a clear indicator of a happy dog who loves their human. Your dog has a healthy appetite and enthusiasm around food, When dogs are happy and feeling good, they're excited about mealtime. They should show clear interest when it's time to eat, finish their meals readily, and have a healthy relationship with food where they enjoy it without anxiety or stress. Happy dogs get visibly excited about food. They might do little dances, wag their tails, maybe even do a play bow because they're so happy it's mealtime. They eat their food with enthusiasm, and afterwards, they seem satisfied and content. Food is a positive part of their day, not something they're anxious about or disinterested in. On the flip side, chronic lack of appetite in a healthy dog can be a sign of depression or unhappiness. If your dog consistently leaves food in their bowl, seems disinterested in meals, or has to be coaxed to eat, something might be wrong emotionally. Obviously, you want to rule out medical issues first, but if your dog is physically healthy but still uninterested in food, it can indicate that they're not enjoying life. What's also important is that happy dogs don't have anxiety around food. They're not resource guarding in excessive ways, they're not frantically gobbling their food like they're afraid it'll be taken away, and they're not showing stress behaviors during meal times. Food time should be a happy, relaxed experience. Your dog has moments of pure contentment and relaxation. This might sound simple, but it's actually a really important indicator of a happy dog. Can your dog fully relax? Do they have moments throughout the day where they're completely at peace, maybe sunbathing in a favorite spot, or sleeping deeply without constantly startling awake, or just lying contentedly while you go about your activities? Dogs who can't fully relax are often dealing with chronic stress or anxiety. But dogs who enjoy their lives have these beautiful moments where they're just existing in a state of pure contentment. Maybe they're sprawled out in a sunbeam with a satisfied expression. Maybe they're sleeping so deeply they're twitching and dreaming. Maybe they're just lying there calmly, watching the world go by without any tension in their body. These moments of deep relaxation show that your dog feels safe enough to let their guard down completely. They're not constantly monitoring for threats, they're not anxious about what might happen next, and they're not unable to settle because of excess energy or stress. They're just happy and at peace. Someone described to me how her dog has this evening routine, where after dinner and an evening walk, he curls up in his favorite corner with a deep, contented sigh and just melts into complete relaxation for the rest of the night. She said you can literally see the satisfaction radiating off him. That kind of deep contentment is such a clear sign of a dog who's truly enjoying their life. Drop a comment and let me know. Does your dog show more of the positive signs? Or are there some warning signs you're realizing you need to address? Remember, if you're seeing concerning signs, it's not about blame, it's about recognizing what needs to change so your dog can thrive. So there you have it, both the warning signs that your dog might be struggling and the beautiful signs that your dog is genuinely happy and enjoying their life. The most important thing is learning to read your specific dog's communication and being willing to make changes if you realize they need more support, enrichment, or a different approach to feel truly happy. Every dog deserves to feel safe, stimulated, and loved in ways that actually work for them. When you pay attention to these signs and respond to what your dog is telling you, you're giving them the gift of a life they can truly enjoy. If this video opened your eyes to things you hadn't noticed before, you definitely need to check out this next video. It's packed with even more insights about understanding your dog's needs and strengthening your bond.